Hello everyone, welcome to the spontaneous UK Prepper Network live that we're doing. We're going to be talking politics. That's probably why there's only 20 odd people in here, not an 100 and odd by the time we start. Like with Fireside, they saw the title Labour and ran away. Hopefully people will join as we go along. I'm joined by the only other person on the Fireside that doesn't give a shit what people think, Brian, so we can talk politics, right Brian?
We can.
And we can argue and we can disagree and then we can have a pint afterwards, so it's all good.
That's the point.
That's the point, and that's the point in the chat as well. Feel free to openly discuss this, put your opinion in, no problems at all. We're all friends after it. That's what matters.
I've had two debates on before I even come on the bloody channel with my son and the wife.
Oh dear.
She's like, how's this relevant to prepping?
You've not come in the shed just for this. You're sleeping there tonight. Is that what you're
I'm
telling
sort
me?
of evicted, yeah. Let's get practical applications. But she says to me, well, what's this got to do with prepping? I says, well, the party of the day will shape your preps of the future because their policy on energy, defence and everything else will directly affect your preps, cost of living, whether you're going to have light when you switch the power. So it is relevant to preppers.
Yeah. Yeah. We've got a vote at the top of the chat as well. So should the voting age be lowered to 16 years old in the UK? With yes and no as the answer. 20 people have voted so far. There's 37 of you in here. Even if you pop it in just to say hi and leave, make sure you get involved with the vote and we'll have a look at that a bit later on. So, excuse me. The news, of course, is the UK government's formally announced that there are plans to lower the national voting age from 18 to 16 for all elections. Obviously, this has to go through parliamentary approval, and but they have a majority. So, and we've just seen what happens to people that rebel in the Labour Party, right?
Yeah, you get suspended, eh? The People's Party, yeah.
Yeah, that's it. Not a dictatorship at all. So they announced this today, and it gives 16 to 17-year-olds the right to vote in general, local, devolved and Northern Ireland Assembly elections. So it's across the board, everything. It's not a 10-year plan. These will be put through and they will be in place before the next general election, unless we have a snap election for whatever reason. So, first thoughts, Brian?
Double-barreled answer. I think it's a good thing, purely because you're old enough to get married.
Yeah.
You're old enough to join the military. You're old enough to pay taxes, right? So I think it's grossly unfair to apportion responsibility, but not give them any voting rights when they get that responsibility.
Yeah.
But the other part of my answer is it's a political ploy because they know that the kids have been indoctrinated and woke in the schools, and it'll largely help their voting demographic. So I agree with it, and I don't think I'm going to like how it pans out for me. But I do agree, think it's fair.
Right, okay, so we disagree.
Which is good.
Okay.
Which is good.
No. So, right, okay, the only reason I disagree is I would agree with this if education was what it was. If education wasn't pushing a political agenda, if it wasn't 70% wokeism in schools, colleges and universities, because they are coming out, most of the 18-year-olds, 19-year-olds, 20, whatever the age they decide to finish their course at uni, etc., they're coming out with this brainwashed ideal. And that's how they come out. And I guarantee 70 or 80% of them, by the time they go from 20 to 25, wake up. Not wake up in their way, but wake up as in, no, the reality of the situation is they were chatting crap. So,
and I don't disagree. That's why my answer was double-barreled.
Yeah.
But you're pretty much the same as me, though. If you think about what I said, it's not that you don't like that they should be given the vote. You don't like how the vote's going to go. That's not the same thing as saying should be given the vote. Right? You just don't like how the vote's going to go. And neither do I. But that's not the question, right?
Yeah.
So
no, it's not. I don't think they have as much of the young vote as they think they do. I fully believe they're pushing the woke agenda, but you know what? I think we'll see a massive increase in Green Party votes. and random stuff like that. That's what I think we'll see. Independents will stand more of a chance. People like Corbyn with his independent party will have a chance of getting in. That's who I think it's going to affect more than Labour. I think they're delusional if they think they're on the side.
I get that, but how many? I'll give you I can't give you an example because it's no okay. I was going to give you an example about a workplace issue and how a vote went, but I can't because I can't talk about it because I'll get in trouble. But anyway, the vote doesn't always go the way you want it, but that doesn't change the fact that people should be allowed to vote how they choose, right? And what we're talking about is people's right to choose, not how we want them to choose. That's an entirely different thing. I know and you know that the schools and the way they're being taught and the fluffy pillow attitude of the world at large, which isn't indicative of the real world that we live in, right, from our perception, that doesn't change the key question. And the key question is, should they be allowed to vote? Not how they're going to vote.
No, they shouldn't.
Why?
Because if you're thinking they're responsible enough to cast a vote to determine the future of this country and take that responsibility, which is a responsibility, seriously, then I tell you what, I'll read you a list. This is all the other things they should now allowed to be to do. Yeah, buy and sell alcohol, cigarettes and tobacco products, use sunbeds, buy fireworks, get a tattoo, buy solvents, play the national lottery, play or bet or gamble, watch or buy 18 rated films. That'll have to become into 16 rated films. Buy knives and blades. We're not stopped. Criminal and legal responsibility. Be tried as an adult. So you can determine my future, but if you do anything wrong, you're going to get tried as a kid and a slap on the wrist. Serve on a jury, sign legally binding contract. Yeah, you can vote, but you can't serve on a jury. You should have jury duty like the rest of us. They can't even sign a contract.
I get that.
Not finished, Brian. Not finished,
That's
Brian.
not the question. You're not answering the question.
I will at the end of it.
No, you're trying to steer the narrative. That's not the same
Work full time without restrictions. Join the armed forces without parental consent. Become a licensed taxi driver or hold some professional licenses. Get married without parental consent. All of these things you're not responsible enough to do until you're 18. So how are they responsible enough to vote?
But we're picking and choosing what's subjective here and what's not. Because, right, I'll let you finish, so bear with me.
That's my list. Go on, you're right.
As it stands, we have apportioned things that we deem them to be responsible for. We deem them responsible enough to get married. A life-changing decision, arguably.
Not without parental consent, so it's not their responsibility fully, it's the parents' responsibility.
Right, finished. Just chill, calm your jets are slick. Right? When I was 4, 5, 6, 7 years old, my level of maturity was different to children now because the exposure and the need to grow up quicker wasn't the same. Right? We weren't bombarded from crib to primary one with shite. TV, social media, palm top gaming things, right? It wasn't there. Well, when I was, obviously there's an age difference. But kids have to grow up faster now. Like it or not, they have to. The maturity hasn't caught up, right? I think they should be allowed to vote at 16, and I still think they'll make the same mistakes that we all made. Just because something's legal or not doesn't mean to say they'll do it anyway. 12-year-olds
mistakes affect the nation.
Of course they do.
If you make a mistake at 16 and not get someone up the duff, that affects you and your family. It doesn't affect the nation.
Mike, I'm 51 and I'm still making mistakes. And think how many people made mistakes. Because if that's the benchmark that we're judging it on, think how many millions of people made mistakes this time round before the 16-year-olds when we had a Labour landslide. So apparently, age obviously doesn't dictate poor life choices because millions of people in the UK have made piss poor choices. That's why we've got the assholes in charge just now. So I don't think we can say they're going to make the wrong choices because everybody makes bad choices day to day. Totally agree with that. I totally agree, Paul. That's a whole nother podcast, mate. But
Kelly's right. If a 16-year-old can vote, then I want 3 votes. One as an adult, one as a taxpayer, and one as a business owner.
Let me tell you what I get told tonight then.
Actually, I'm producing voters like they're going out of fashion.
Mate, you're manipulating the vote. I had a discussion with my son, and I've been subsequently told I interpreted it wrong, but basically older people, I take that to heart, being 51, I don't think I was older people, but apparently I am. Older people aren't as relevant. Ergo, they're not going to live as long for the people who's going to be subject to the outcome of the vote. My argument to that as well, I've paid into the system a lot longer, blood, sweat, treasure and toil. My vote is very fucking relevant. Very relevant, thanks very much. Just because I'm not going to be on the planet as long as you.
How do you feel that like 300 people from, or 3,000 people from Salford University down the road from me are going to come out and it's the professors that are very left-leaning that are casting that vote? It's not them casting the vote, it's the people that's washed them.
Totally agree.
You could completely flip it. This is not like, the thing is, it's very singularity. It's very single area as well. Because you think of a university town, that vote's only going to go one way, and it's whatever way the students want to vote because they've got the numbers to sway it.
I think the days of small mining villages, mum and dad have always voted Labour, the kids always follow Labour. I think those days are gone. I think when you've got mass,
they were.
I think when you've got mass media manipulation like we've got, whoever controls the media controls the narrative and sets the narrative, and that is set from school to university to social media and everything else. There's a lot of attention being built. You're bombarded constantly as a child, young person, elderly person. I mean, like I said a minute ago, if as adults who are supposed to be more responsible because of age, if we can't get it right when the vote went, right, what chance have they got?
Yeah, so they shouldn't have it.
No,
that argument says they shouldn't have it.
No. They're entitled to choose and make the same mistakes that we obviously do, because apparently age doesn't make us any better at it.
I tell you what, you can have the vote if you're 16, if you've left home and you're living on your own and you're paying bills. Yeah? If you're paying into the economy, you can have a vote. That would be me. And do you know what? On that I'm gonna really annoy some people here. This is lose subscriber territory.
You think?
This is lose subscriber territory. This. If you're not paying into the system, I don't mean right now, but over your entire life, you could have worked for 30 years and just had a bit of bad luck. That doesn't count. If you've never paid into the system, no vote. If the system is what pays you, no vote. Because, do you know why? Because with that in mind, and that's how your income is, and that's your livelihood, they can buy your vote. It's as simple as that.
I was looking at it from a different spin, to be honest. If you're a work-shy, lazy bastard, you lose entitlement to be a citizen. But yeah, we'll go with yours. That sounds a bit more fluffy.
But I mean, no, people are unemployed through no fault of their own. I've been made redundant. And
totally get that.
It was a bad job environment at the time. So for a year, I was like fitting random floors and doors, trying to make what money I could. People get in a situation. But if you've never paid into the system, it's a different situation.
By choice as well. By choice.
Yeah. That's a hard thing to prove.
And yeah,
when I had my son at 18, 19 going, yeah, I've applied for about 30 odd jobs today, then I looked at his CV and it looked like Mickey Mouse had wrote it with his ass. And it's just...
There's an image. That's all, folks.
Pop the pen up.
That was Bugs Bunny. With Sedgwick there. I think for me...
The point, I suppose... You'll have a biased impression based on your own personal experience. And my personal experience is I wouldn't let my son be responsible for a 1-inch butter knife, never mind a vote. So
I get that. And probably some or all of our parents would have said the same thing, because let's be honest, my generation thinks the generation behind them have got no skills. They don't know they're born. They don't know how easy they've got it. And see the generation after that, they'll say the same thing, because that's how we're wired and that's what we think.
Yeah. Yeah. Miss Worm says you can't disenfranchise the disabled, or no, not at all.
Nor would we. Nor would we. Not at all.
Like Brian says, it's hard things to prove, but it's by choice, you know. And I suppose people are forced into that with wherever they live as well. Some places, like I moved away from the northeast because it was either a piss poor job or no job at all. So I had to move away to find work at the time. It might be better now. So sometimes it's victim of circumstance. So we get that 100%.
I can't see the chat, so I'm probably being spared a lot of the abuse that you're looking at.
It's on the screen a bit at the bottom corner. You can see.
Mate, the phone's that size. What kind of eyesight do you think I've got?
Well, somebody said, well, you've had 2 compliments. Somebody said 51, not a day over 45, and somebody said 51. There you go. Horace said 51. Did you have 2 uphill paper rounds?
Oh dear, it's doing it again. Sorry, the magic finger trick.
But 16-year-olds don't go to university. No, but they're still in the education system, right?
Yes.
And I don't get me wrong, this is not a new problem. 18-year-old, 19, 20-year-olds in university have that kind of pushed on them. Luckily, most of them are too pissed or hungover to vote, so it's not an issue. But that household thing you're talking about, Brian, so my family's had that, right? I've had family members delete me off all social media because of my political views. Didn't agree with theirs. And they were staunch Reds, right? I vote for policies every election. So I'm not party loyal. It'll depend what policies are up and you know who I think's best. So they're like that, but I think this will start to breed that again. Because how many people are still living at home till 18, 19, 20? And
It'll
Dad
be
will
more
force
now.
them to vote the way he votes.
Yeah, but you say that, but then that segues back to the argument of how militant they are and woke and entitled. And if MD's on this that's below 20 years old and you think you're getting a hard time, I apologise. It's
Speak
just, it's a, aye, in fact, here's a better idea. Michael, post your link. See if you want to jump on the chat and defend your standpoint. You'll be listened to. So by all means, if we've got somebody...
There it is. Just put the link in.
You're more than welcome to put your side across because you might feel you're getting hard stick here and you want to argue a toss. By all means.
Yeah.
And nobody's going to give you any abuse. Well, ish.
So we'll have a few people in here said similar sort of things to what you mentioned before. What's this got to do with prepping? What's it got to do with prepping, Brian?
It's got everything to do with prepping. And I'll start even my favourite subject of power. The look ahead and the policies put in place for generation and everything else. Building power stations, infrastructure, to keep your lights on, to keep your heating on, to drive industry and commerce. Those decisions are made and set by governmental policy. So who you vote for is relevant to how you keep your lights on and how you're going to have to prepare to keep the lights on if they don't do the right thing or what we perceive to be the right thing. And that affects farming policy. You might not be able to get your groceries. There industrial policy. You've got lots of strikes, so you can't get anything. Petrochemical refineries are shut down. You've got no fuel. All these things we've had, all these things we've experienced, and all these things have been direct causes of the government of the day, and either be it social disorder, conflict, or poor planning and infrastructure. It's all relevant to prepping. That's my opinion. Yeah. I don't mean to preach.
No, that's fine. I agree 100%. And I tell people all the time, I do political videos and political rants. If they don't want to, just turn off. You don't have to get all irate about it. Right. The government's reasons for doing this, one of them is increasing voter turnout. Because voter participation hit a low of 59.7% in 2024.
Okay.
Which was good for Labour because they wouldn't have had a landslide if everyone else hadn't been disillusioned with the system. Is this going to increase the percentage turnout, or are people still going to be? I mean, I've seen comments already. I can't get to all your comments, guys. Put them in capitals if they're important, or use the super chat. You've got the options there. But people have said that it doesn't make a difference.
Well, you're opening up more numbers, potential numbers, but that's not the problem. If you're saying you've had low voter turnout, then you've got to look inwards and say, well, I'm not doing my job right as a politician. if people feel disenfranchised. Because if they're not voting, they obviously feel that there's no point, that the parties of the day that are in power are either not going to do what they say they're going to do. I wonder why they think that. Or there's no difference between the parties. So my answer to that would be, do your job better and you'll get better voter turnout. It's that simple.
Yeah. But as long as it goes in their favour, they don't care the percentages turn out. So I think it's a bit of a...
I think they will get more. I think they will get more numbers.
They'll get more turnout this time because people saw how close not the main two parties were.
But you hit the nail on the head slightly earlier, although from a different point of view. At some point, the young men and women who might be allowed to vote at 16 will get older. Life will deal them whatever cards they get. I hope it's good cards. And that will shape their future votes. So they're opening a can of worms that might work for them now, but it might hamper their party for generations to come. So be very careful what you wish for.
Yeah, true. And I think we'll start to see new parties as well, because if they can vote, can they run? That would be my question. Can they?
Sorry,
can
what
they
do you
start? Can they become part of a party? Can they create a party?
Of course they could. It'll boil down to money, drive. I mean, you think how many people come out of university with a degree in politics, social studies in one form or another, that is their thing, and gets them up in the morning and gets them excited about change, and then as life goes on they get jaded. Who's to say they might not start voting at 16, don't like the way it's going, and then whether at university or whatever, apprenticeship, whatever they're doing, they decide, you know what, these people are all assholes, we're going to start a party of the youth party, whatever they want to call it, but it might happen. You never know.
Lord of the Flies party.
It's time to hunt.
Evil Girls put a question. If you were to persuade a 16-year-old to vote, how would you do it? Give him unrestricted internet for a week if he votes the right way. There you go.
You've got to look at what they want, what drives them. And money drives a lot of people. So
that's it. We're going to see that step from the lower minimum wage, because they don't get, it's different levels, tiers, minimum wage. I don't even know what it is anymore. It's different tiers minimum wage, isn't it? So I think that off the back of this, what we're going to see is a huge increase in the under 21's minimum wage. That's it. Yeah. So for 21 and over, it's £12.21. For 18 to 20, it's £10. For under 18s, it's £7.55. So they're nearly a fiver off the mark of a adult wage. So they're going to want that. If you turn around and say, right, all you McDonald's employees are now going to get an extra fiver an hour sort of thing if you vote Labour, that's the next step.
I'm just rereading the question, and I'm going to put a slightly different slant on it. I assumed, as you did as well, with the answer, that how would you do it? And then we put ourselves into the government position. I think, if I interpret it properly, what she means is, how would I persuade a 16-year-old to vote?
To vote your way, or just to vote in general?
Vote in general, because that was the question. So, to vote in general, if they're lucky enough to be given the right to vote, right, people have ultimately fought and died to provide that vote for them. And this perception of freedom that we currently enjoy, right, or the illusion that it is.
Good, Brian's with the jokes today.
It's one of the few choices I'll get in life that may make a difference. But there's only I'm also the shop steward for our place, and I'll make my point, as like I said to our members, that there's no such thing as a wasted vote. That the only vote that's ever wasted is the one that you never do. The fact that you think your vote personally might not carry the way you would like it to go doesn't mean it's a wasted vote. The only one that's wasted is you never take.
40% of the nation in 2024 thought it was a wasted vote. Add them together. That's a winning vote.
That is the problem. If again, there's things I can't say. which is really annoying because it's really relevant.
I've never seen Brian censor himself so much.
Yeah, I feel quite passionately about not starving to death, mate. So, that's my answer. I'll leave it at that. But
that's fine.
I think that's aye.
No, it's a valid point, 100%. I just genuinely think it's just hypocritical that they can't do all these things. They're not. It's not that they can't do it because of, like, you can't go on a roller coaster because of a height restriction, for safety concerns, for anything like that. They're not responsible enough to buy a knife, to buy alcohol, to do
everything's
this,
arbitrary, and you've got to have a shelf. You've got to have a ceiling where it kicks in. So if you're 15-year-old and you go to, if you're 16-year-old and you go to a nightclub and you hook up with another person who's 15 short, less one day for 16, you're a sex offender. If you meet them the next day, you can get married, right? There's always got to be a ceiling. There's always going to be consequences. So unfortunately, there's always going to be winners and losers in life.
Yeah. George says, but the 40% proved themselves right by not voting too. Yeah, well, exactly. It was a wasted vote because they didn't do it. We had a post in our Nextdoor app. The 17-year-old young lady wanted to know if there were any protests for Birmingham at the weekend. We asked what protest she wanted to end. She said any.
Yeah, that's just an asshole, though. That you get them in all ages.
That's the majority at that age.
I disagree. I think you're very immature, but immaturity seems to be a widespread thing regardless of age. Hence why we've got the policies and parties that we've got. Because, you know, we are voting for these people. We are voting for these people.
I'm not being held responsible. I've never voted for the people at the moment. These people.
Neither did I.
Brian's balancing on the knife edge. Much love and honesty make you blurt it out at times, says Pete. Whenever people need a hero, we shall supply him. Albert Pikes. Lots of people are saying, like, it's, you know. So if somebody quoted Twain, I think, before, that says, you know, if voting made a difference, they wouldn't let us do it. You can see that preppers in general are disillusioned with the system. I suppose because we look into all the conspiracy side of things, right?
Conspiracy theorists, preppers, UFO fans, there's a lot of crossover because I think preppers in general tend to look ahead for potential problems and try and mitigate the outcomes of such perceived problems. Mm-hmm. And slightly obsessive as well. My wife will tell you, like, if I start a hobby, it's got to be all of it, everything, full bore, and then I get bored and do something else. So I would say preppers can be obsessive.
Yeah.
And that translates to policies.
So the big question that all preppers will be thinking, not a question as such, there's a question there for Snapdragon, I'll start that and go back to it. The big question on people's minds, or the you know, that niggling voice, is what are they distracting us from with this? Because UK and Germany landmark agreement, they've just had the first alliance agreement since World War II signed.
Yeah, they're talking about the Taurus ER, the extended range version, and different other things.
Mm-hmm. And this is them agreements are preludes to war. Simple as that. There's no reason to do them the way they've done it for any other reason.
I think we are in a time of world upheaval with a lot of conflicts going on, and only now the UK government is spoon feeding the population to realise shit's getting real, kids, and we might need to do something about this. Unfortunately, realisation has dawned that we're not a first world power anymore. The military is very, very poorly funded, staffed, and everything else, and also, because it's been made so unattractive, the generation of today don't want to join it. So there's a lot of problems, but I think if you're talking about a distraction, and this being part of a distraction, look at the latest inflation figures, look at the £40 billion black hole, and look at how much a shithole the country is in financially at the moment, and I think you'll find there's your glaring answer.
Yeah, and subjects like this get people talking. It was this, or enact the death penalty, right? I mean, Rishi
Can't
tried
we
it
do
with
both?
Rishi tried it with the conscription, the national service thing, right? That was a sudden, hopefully I can get a last minute far right vote kind of grab. So it's odd, but to me, it feels like he's panicking already about this being a one-term party, which we all think it will. I don't know if you do, but I think it will be.
Oh, it will be. They've not done everything they said they were going to do that they've tried to bring in. They've reversed it. Everything's wrong.
You've clearly not seen the PMQs where it's promise made, promise kept, and he's quoting the amount of times I've heard free school meals. It doesn't matter when the parents are fucking flat broke and we can't afford to feed them the rest of the fucking meals. Free breakfast makes no difference.
I can't watch that crap because all I see is a bunch of entitled assholes smirking at one another or sleeping in the benches. See the really important votes and the stuff that matters to you and me, that your local MPs
there's 10
actually
people left in there.
Yeah, there's nobody there because you don't matter to them. So that's why I can't watch it, because it just, excuse the language, folks, it fucks me off, right? Yeah, that's what it does.
It's the irony of the Speaker of the House going, and now we go to the very important vote. And then the House clears.
Yeah. So I can't watch it, and I can't listen to them. It's like watching the Muppets, literally like watching the Muppet Show. The only thing's missing is a bloody balcony.
Well, they've got a viewing balcony, haven't they?
Assholes.
Snapdragon question. Have we considered why this has been announced at this time with all the ongoing... Great minds, Snapdragon. Great minds. Yeah, with the ongoing threats. He's come over from your side there, Brian. Snapdragon, he's watching on your channel. This is on my channel and on Brian's channel, so make sure you like and subscribe to Brian's if you're not already. And if you've not seen me yet, then do the same that way as well. That'd be awesome. Sharing's caring, guys. Having worked in schools where we've done mock elections with kids voting, it wasn't the red fest I'd expected. Will probably result in more votes for Green. I think overall little impact, I reckon. See, this is what
you said that. You said that.
Yeah, I think you're going to see, like, if somebody starts up the student vegan, identify as a penguin carrot toaster party, they'll get loads of votes.
I was going to say, Mike posted a link earlier on for people to jump on the chat if they wanted their voice heard. At the time, it was, if you're a young person, this is ran for you guys. You hear us every Sunday night. If you've got an opinion and want to voice it, jump on. You're wanted.
Yeah, come and have a rant. Don't get Brian fired. That's what.
Please don't. I'm too pretty for prison.
Horace says you should not have a vote if you don't have a wood burner.
Really don't like you at the moment, Horace.
Should we do it at the same time, Brian? Oh dear. Love it. Distraction is the Trump 60-day ultimatum to... I thought it was 50 days.
50 days.
Yeah, 50 days. I thought it was, yeah. Like the Iranian one when they tried to decapitate the Iran leadership. Yeah, there's so much to just do a news stream now, to literally go through like all the news now. We would be on here till tomorrow.
There's conflict in every continent.
Yeah. It's insane. But I really don't see the benefit of this.
If I was pushed, I would have to say it's a distraction on economic woes, because if anything's going to... People are quite blasé. They'll have a little worry about things. Yeah, they've said that a few times when a pre-war footing with Russia. It's the pound, shilling and pence that get people kicked out on their arse.
Yeah.
Wars don't generally.
Yeah.
We're bothered.
True.
Eloquently put, Mel.
The Great Reset couldn't come soon enough, not for people's personal debts, but for entire nations. Is lowering voting age a prelude to lowering conscription age? Oof. Now there's a thought. Straight out of school. You can't go to college. You don't want to go to college. You don't have to wait. Because, I mean, when I was joining, it was like if you left school at 16, which we did at the time. I know a lot of them go to 18 now and stuff, but we left school at 16. You couldn't join till 17 and a half, technically. You couldn't sign all the papers, then you were 18 before you'd go out any sort of deploy or anything. So there's about people I knew that left school like, yeah, I'm going to join the army. But after a year and a half of partying, working in McDonald's and living at mum's house, they're like, no, why would I do that? So it kind of like drops off sort of thing. So, yeah, that's an interesting point there, Grass Monster.
I don't think
Hello,
we're at the
George.
age.
Harris, how are you doing?
Hello, mate. How's it going?
Can I? I look like I do look like I'm really greasy, and it's because I am. It's not because I'm a lazy fucker who doesn't shower though. Honestly,
You sound like Andy with hair.
Aye, and good looking. What do you?
That's what I like
want?
about
Do you
the-
know, I can hear the zippers just falling from here. It's it's all.
And that's just Mike.
Sorry.
No, all good. I'm probably one of the 6 people out of like 90 or something. That's probably more towards the other side, the lower side. But so
Go for
I
it.
expect to get some stick. But yeah, it is what it is. I think I always thought that. I thought it was a long time ago actually. I'm surprised they change ages back. But I think it's the idea of 18-year-olds don't know shit. Like I didn't know anything when I was 18. I left school. I didn't know anything. I wasn't stupid. I wasn't immature. Well, I was probably immature, but I was naive. I was definitely naive. But I was probably naive till I was like in my mid-20s. I'm still naive now. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
In reality, I think like what you're both saying earlier on. You still make mistakes like all the time. But I
So
think
what you're saying, it won't make a difference?
well, I just think 18-year-olds are thick, and been 16-year-olds are as well.
I can't even argue. I've met my son.
Yeah, like,
19.
yeah, they are, but that's okay. Do you know what I mean? Like 18, like you don't know anything. You've just left school. Now, especially now, you're forced to kind of go down the education route. So you have to go down the education route anyway. You leave school, you don't have any idea what's going on in the real world. Not really. Not until you kind of, mid-20s, even something look towards 30, really.
So I'm with George then. Let's up it to 25 before you can
I'd agree with you completely. I'd say, I think you have all or nothing, don't you? I think 25 plus probably does make more sense in the sense of people having a bit more sense. But I also agree with Brian as well. We're saying that youngsters certainly have to, whether mature is the right word, they grow up quicker. Whether they mature faster is a different story, but they definitely grow up faster.
But
They're being
surely
asked to grow up quicker. Whether they do or not, it's up for debate, but they're certainly asked to.
They have to.
they act like they do. Surely, though, this is all about wording and semantics, right? At 18, you become an adult. Adults can vote. If we're saying 16-year-olds can vote, you're going to get some really mature 15-year-olds that are pissed off with that.
Oh yeah, it'll keep going down and down and down. You're right, yeah.
So as soon as they can write, and as soon as they can put an X in a box, we can let them vote. Is that what we're saying?
Depends on the box.
Just wait till you're feeling the baby in, right? And wherever they drop their rattle on the form, that's who they vote for. That's how it's going to go. Where the dummy marks the spot.
But you do have to cut it off at some point, and saying 16 is like an arbitrary age because they're still a minor. Still tried as a minor, can't have the same legal consequences that we can't sign into a contract, so why should they be able to sign a voting form, which is a contract with the government?
So, put this way, rather than if you let's put it this way around. Instead of changing the voting age, would you change some of the other factors that an 18-year-old can go through that a 16-year-old can't? So
yes.
Think of kind of 16-year-olds at the moment. I mean, whether I think it's a new thing. I don't think this is an evolving problem where you've got 16-year-olds, well, 14-year-olds, even youngsters who are, committing more severe crimes. There's murders and all kinds of really heinous, horrible stuff. And so
because there's no consequences.
Yeah, they don't get tried as an adult, right? Because they're not in Christ. I mean, you got like
they're employed by career criminals.
Anyway, right?
They're employed by career criminals for that reason.
Yeah,
they are the runners. They carry the stuff that they can't carry because if they get caught, they'll get a slap on the wrist.
Should still face the consequence, though. The full consequence,
Totally
completely.
agree.
And so I would argue if you should change that down to when you're 16, which I think you should, I think 100% think you should, then why not the vote as well?
the age caps in this country have always been messed up, in my opinion. So this is not me saying you just can't do anything before you're 18. I mean, I left home at like 16. As soon as I was 16, I left home. I'm my first place, right?
But look what it's done to you, Mike.
I know. Look how wonderful I am. But I could take my girlfriend to that flat at 16. And
you did. That's why you've got 5 kids.
Yeah, we could do things that were completely legal at 16.
So young,
and you did.
But I can't buy the book to tell me how to do it properly till I'm 18.
You should have bought the book, mate. Or condoms.
They're all over the
that
place.
works too.
They're all over the place. They're all over the place.
I just had a mental image of you with a book trying to wrap it round going, this isn't going to work, darling.
Not working this.
You wanted girth, I've got the yellow pages.
Jobs saying, Tim, go to the clinic.
You joke, Brian. That's the kind of books we'll have in our schools soon because they're educating them in primary school level now.
They are.
Can't call it Top saying Tim, it'll be the person that identifies as Tim, non-binary toaster. And there'll just be this toaster walking along the beach, and it'll not be a ball, it'll be a non-coloured, round, rotating object, because you can't call it a ball.
You can't use the colours in the identification like pinks and blues either. So it's got this whole kids book's going to be grey as well. The whole thing's going to be greyscale.
Baba Woolly Sheep. That was a new one for me. Like, what the fuck?
Oh no, it was multicolored sheep at ours school. Not my school.
It was just Baba Black Sheep. Yeah. Even when I was teaching, up until a few years ago, it was the case. Like we actually had a I kid you not, we had a mandatory what we call a CPD session. So it's a curriculum. What was it called now? Career progression development. That's it. Essentially forced re-education in some ways. And it was okay. Yeah, go along with this, anti-racist thing because everybody's a racist. But I'm not a racist. You are. You just don't realize. I was like, what? Well, I'm not. That's seriously, this is the case. But it's okay. You're racist, but it's okay. And
we have to explain to you why you are.
This is the adults. You know what I mean?
So it'll be like a Clockwork Orange. You're in front of the screen with the eyelids like this, and there's a sheep running along with a fucking rainbow, getting chased by a toaster. Oh my god!
I'm not too dismayed by it. I think when I was teaching, I taught that's school I taught at for 6 years, and secondary school. So 12 to 11 to 16, and I've done some work with the universities as well. Universities, they're a lost cause, but the schools wise, you did have some. I mentioned something at Discord earlier on. Actually, there was a guy who was the head of English, and actually had a kid come in and go, oh sir, he says hi, what's up? He says, what do you think of socialism? He says, what, like Stalin and that? He says, yeah. I says, I think it's stupid. This is what you mean. Says, well, I think it's stupid. He's killed more people than Hitler. Those are his own people, let alone like kind of during the Second World War and Chairman Mao and everything else in between. And
go plant some trees.
Aye, the lad was quite receptive, and he thought, oh, okay. I said, why are you asking us this? Do you not got anything better to do? He says, oh, I've we've been talking about it. Well, we've been going through it, and in English, and it's like the whole thing, like all the text, a lot of the text and stuff that we were covering in English. Were like kind of socialist focused. But
socialism, like Stalin and that, will never work because people are assholes.
Yeah. We're finding that out now, firsthand.
Yeah, you're right there. But there's a lot of kids did throw off the shackles, as it were. They didn't go in for it. This thought was stupid. I think a lot of kids, I think, are more, in a sense, rebellious. They just don't like being told what to do, and that includes being leftist. They're like, the one thing they did go for was always the green stuff, which I'm not a green advocate by any means, but I think to them, it's very much it's almost like an immediate threat because they see it as, oh well, you won't get it, George, because you don't care because it's not going to affect you, but they think rightly or wrongly that's going to affect them. They think it's their. That's the reason why they'd prep, right? Is because they think the whole world's going to end. And so they'd be probably more likely to vote down that way than I don't think they give a toss about Labour or Conservative. To be honest.
Yeah, like I say, I said at the start, like Green Party would probably see the
Yeah.
biggest benefit out of this whole thing. I mean, even when I was at school, litter picking and saving the planet was on the agenda then, like in schools and stuff like that, and it always has been. I mean, one of the cartoons I used to watch was Captain Planet, for God's sake, you know.
I'm
too
not
young for that
against
one, Mike. I don't know what that is.
the Green
Right,
vote.
bye,
I don't have a
George.
problem with. Was he not a singer?
Bye, George.
Who, Captain Planet?
No, Boy George.
Boy George. That's what you're about.
No.
Never heard of him.
The Green Party vote for kids, I don't have an issue with if they're taught the right way. Actually, listen, this is how you get power. This is how it works. This is what we need to do to get it. As long as they have an appreciation for what's involved in getting it and how the piper's got to have to be paid, I've got no problem with that. But don't just tell them a big pile of pish about we'll build a big spinny thing and everyone's going to be sunshine and lollipops, because in 5 years' time when they're sitting in the dark going, hold on a minute, that's not what you said.
Yeah.
Educate them right and let them make an informed choice and be green. They want.
On that basis, we've took sex education from the very high end of secondary school down to teaching them while they're still in the frigging womb what to do.
That's appalling.
Yeah, not good.
Yeah. Do we introduce politics teaching in schools, like at a lower age?
You can't, can you? You can't, because as soon as you start doing that, you bias. You can't teach every political standpoint.
No, okay. No, not so much the agendas, but a lot of people don't know how the voting system works, how region, you know, educating on democracy and on voting and on different things there. Yeah,
you could embellish it. You could go into it more, I think, but you probably already do it and don't even know it when you start talking about history, when you start talking about wars and different conflicts and things. So yeah, you could get into more detail, but going back to what you said about the sex education thing, I would see change that and go back to how it used to be. Let them be kids. Let them be kids first. They've got a long time to be fucking miserable, right? Let them be children.
That's marriage, right?
No comment whatsoever. I'm told I've never been happier, and she's watching this right now. Oh, love of my life, darling, please put down the steak knife.
But yeah, you're right, and it wound me up that like my boys are in primary school and they're getting taught that, and it was just like,
it's appalling.
I mean, all you have to teach them is, you know, don't talk to strangers, don't get in the white van. That's not normal that uncle's tucking you in every night. Just teach them stuff like that. But, you know,
I mean, they're getting sex education at a year when I was eating worms off the ground. I mean, it's not the same. It's totally nonsense. Oh, there's a random hand. Is that Jeremy Beadle?
I'm really bendy. That's me.
I've heard that. It was written in the toilet wall.
Hello.
Yeah. So it's a slippery slope for me. This whole thing is a slippery slope. You can't.
A bit different now. I mean, my wife, she's a primary school teacher. Been for quite a good number of years now, and they cover the. So in year 5, so the what? Year 5 be like what? 8, something like that. 8 years old. I think 8. No, sorry. About 9, 8, 9 year old, and they start looking at it's like your body. So that's your body, right? Okay, your body's going to go through changes, and that's because you've got some girls and things who start their puberty a little bit earlier, and some obviously different rates. So they've got to cover it. Their argument is they've got to cover it, which I kind of get that. I get the puberty stuff.
You could cover the biology without the.
Yeah, 100%. And then the year after, so you're kind of talking at year 6, they start looking at how babies are made, and it's supposed to be. But
you missed that class, Mike.
Skip that one. It's it's supposed to be very scientific. Which this is what it is.
No matter how scientific it is, if in year 6, if they'd have told me that, I'd have gone home and looked at my parents very differently.
Yeah, my pregnant wife at the moment, she had to step out from it because she's like, I can't deliver this. The thing is, they don't actually get specialists to do it. It used to be they'd get the nurse in, right, or they get someone from outside of school to do it. And now it's the teachers, And my wife who's pregnant's like, I can't sit and deliver a lesson and about how babies are made whilst I'm like massively pregnant. Like that's just awkward, like because they're all sitting looking going,
now you
I know
all
what happened
know.
to you. Like that's not an image that you want in your head.
Get the school nurses to do it. They don't do anything else. School nurses in my day were for fleas and for a wet paper towel on a wound. That was it. Wet paper towel was the only medikit they needed.
And then, but then I remember when I had sex ed at school, it was kind of like what you were in year 9, maybe, so like 13. And that's when they got out the big dildo and everything else. I went to a public school.
What school did you go to?
I was gonna say, that was a bigger budget than my school. They used a banana.
This was posh. Big purple thing, I remember. And then,
well, did one of the teachers happen to have it in the confiscation drawer? Is that one
I never paid much attention.
Look, kids, here's the Throbmaster 4000.
I have the worst experience with sex education in schools because it only came in when I was in the last year of secondary school. So 15, 16-year-old. And at the time, I'd had my surgery on my face. That's what the scar is. And I'd been in and out of surgery 3 times. And I was on all sorts of medications and stuff like that. And I was constantly lightheaded and stuff like this. And I was constantly going out of classes. Started the first ever sex education class 5 minutes in. Who passes out?
Oh man! And
I'm on the rugby team. So the stick I got for the rest of that year, I couldn't wait to leave school.
You obviously overcame that particular barrier in life, I see. Yeah, you certainly got over that little hurdle.
Now it's a bit different. I did a session which I wasn't very happy about, but I did a session to year 11s, and this is after they've had all the talks. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the year 11s is they're 16-year-olds, and it is very much they have a guy come in who kind of does it alongside you, the talk, not the act. We called him the porn man because he came in and he talked about porn, especially.
Mate, what school did you go to? That sounds absolutely awesome. You've got some random porn guy coming in, you call him Mr. Porn, and somebody coming in with a big floppy chopper. I mean, what the fuck? Was it?
That's
did it involve a van? Did you go in a van to get to this school?
This is at the end where he goes, actually guys, I was homeschooled.
By my Uncle Trevor.
He's always a practical teacher, very hands-on.
Sorry everybody in the chat, you know what it's like. It's like Fireside but worse. Sorry.
But,
be worse.
It was horrible. It was a horrible hour because the poor man came in and he had a chat with the lads. It was mainly the lads. They're going, yeah, you can't choke out your girlfriend because you've seen it on some video. Do you know what I mean? You can't just sit and choke the life out of her. It's not a good idea. And they'll have a laugh. And then they do go through the whole idea of anal sex and vaginal sex and everything else. Things that have no relation to sex education. Not really. Because it's more.
When I left school in 1989, it's obviously changed a lot. I'm just going to put that out there. Your experience was entirely different from mine. We got section 6 in 3rd year in biology. That was about it. You've got choppers like lightsabers and guys. Oh, fucking hell. It's like a WWF wrestler sex team.
All I can think of was it Monty Python's Flying Circus where they did the sex education class and John Cleese is teaching it and his wife comes in and they're just demonstrating it in front of the class.
I'm sure you could find me a link though.
I ain't searching for that.
John Cleese getting railed. That's
400 hits.
No, it's genuinely. I'm sure it's a Monty Python Flying Circus, and it was just a mick take on that whole situation.
Yeah, some dodgy VHS. You got some blow up work. Yeah,
Betamax.
So I think kids are growing up faster. They're not, they're no more mature.
We're forcing it though. Do you not think we're forcing it?
Yes,
they're doing it anyway, aren't they? They're doing it anyway because of the internet. I think a lot of it is social media, and the internet. I think it's a great tool, but unfortunately,
technology's driving the change.
It's forcing people's hands, for better or for worse. And so,
I think technology's been the driver, but the maturity's not caught up yet.
Yeah, and it can't, because you're just a kid. They'll never catch up.
Full circle. Full circle, you're just a kid, so you shouldn't be allowed to vote.
But if you're allowed to go through all that, should you not also be allowed to vote? Is the argument. No one's saying 16-year-olds are mature, but
No.
I'd also argue that 22-year-olds aren't mature. So if the argument's about maturity, then I don't think it's the right one.
My family will tell you that a 51-year-old's not mature, which I think's totally out of order.
I'm an absolute tool, man. I don't know what I'm doing. Do you know what I mean? I just float through life and hope for the best.
My sex
Buy a few
education
tins of beans every other week, and that's about it.
Please tell me it wasn't his penis.
Came from
Come ride this bike.
Oh, and that's how we ended up my register, Your Honour.
We've drifted from how it affects preppers, says Mel. Sorry, Mel.
Just a bit, Mel.
Just a wee bit.
Well, you say that, but I mean, so this is getting younger and younger. No reason for that whatsoever. I don't know. It pisses me off still to this day. But we've all mentioned the crime side of this thing, right? And 14, 15-year-olds committing serious crimes. And we talk about inner city London. We're not talking about robbing your wheelie bin. We're talking about stabbing somebody and stuff like this. And we see the effects of that because when they need to look like they're doing something, they bring in the zombie knife ban. They bring in the Tanto ninja sword ban and stuff like that. And we're seeing the effects of this all the time. Surely we should go backwards with the education system, not forwards, because if you look at the generation that went through school from like older generations, came out much more disciplined because they could be disciplined. Now they can go in school and put the finger up to the maths teacher and know that they can't do anything. We protect them way too much. Even at my school, teachers couldn't hit you, but my maths teacher was a dab hand with the blackboard rubber that had a wooden back. He could launch it across the class and get you on the shoulder easily. So
we still got the belt. You'll all have missed that bit. I got the belt the last time in primary 7, which would have been circa 1980. No, 1983. 1983.
Yeah. And I
got the belt.
And I'm not saying bring in physical punishment. I'm just saying something's gone fundamentally wrong with our education system and the way society protects people beyond the realm that they need protecting to make them think they can do anything. It's no longer knock a door run. It's knock a door and give the old guy shit because he can't do nothing.
Yeah, you're spot on.
Or knock a door pension purse.
I think this has got relevance to prepping as well, though, because you're talking about societal changes and how it's affecting. Like, so you're potentially prepping for social disorder and crime.
Yeah, there's more age, right? More threat.
Yeah,
especially if you're living in an inner city environment, in which case your risks might be different from somebody that's living a bit more rural.
Yeah, massively. Yeah, I've got the urban risk there, and it's not gangs of 30-year-olds and 40-year-olds and organised crime gangs that are the problem. There's places.
No, it's kids.
There's places. If I go into Manchester, there's places in Manchester that've got a really bad reputation for organised crime and drive-bys and shootings and stuff like that. You can walk your granny down the street tonight because they're not out to get anyone, and they control the fact that there's no kids on the street doing this crap. And half the time, the kids that are causing the trouble, they're going home to happy middle-class 3-bed suburban household.
Aye, yeah. No, you're right there. It's not the impoverished. It's not all impoverished kids. I think it's painted that way. Sometimes it's not the case.
No, not at all.
I was teaching at, especially, it was quite an affluent area, and a lot less street smarts. But because I've got less street smarts, I don't understand the consequences of the actions, especially kind of going around acting like a dick. That's because
there's very few consequences.
Well, you're right. Yeah, there's few consequences, unless you say bad words online. Really, in general, no matter what your age is, but especially if you're younger.
Guantanamo Bay.
Voting assumes a level of responsibility, but we've taken all the responsibility out of life. Very true.
Agreed.
Very true. Yeah.
No, which kind of makes my point about the age thing then.
No, it doesn't.
It does, though.
Yeah, it does.
It does, because And again,
it's all or nothing. It's all or nothing. If you want them to vote, fine, no problem. They can also get pissed, shag, make porn, do everything else.
Which they're doing anyway.
And suddenly you're going to have to release 3 million nonces because it's no longer illegal. It's just you've picked an age where they are an adult legally. We have to stick to it.
Everything you've said,
we're dropping it down, and we're dropping it down, and suddenly, that adult age is going to get blurred massively.
I disagree, and I'll tell you why. All the things you rhymed off, they're already doing. And when I was that age, there was kids at my school doing it as well, right? So they were drinking, they were all knobbing, right? This isn't a new thing. The page just turns in history. They still do it. The fact that it's illegal has never mattered. When you were younger, the fact that you were breaking the law and you get somebody to buy the drink for you, none of that's changed.
I agree. But if you're saying they're not responsible enough to do these things until they are an adult of 18-year-old, how are they suddenly responsible for a nation's vote?
But we can flip that round, because the counter argument to that, Mike, is that if we're saying that once you get to that age, you're responsible and mature to make good decisions,
no, you're not saying that
mockery.
At all. Well, I'm not saying that at all, but you're suddenly letting them have alcohol. You're suddenly letting them buy, happy 18th birthday, here's 10 pints of Stella and a samurai sword. Off you go and have fun.
Yeah, but the flip side to that is, if you're 16, you're not responsible to vote. However, if you're 18, you are responsible to vote. And yet, every day from 18 onwards, myself, you, George, we've all made mistakes, continue to make mistakes and poor life choices. And I probably will continue to do so till I'm older. Yes, life shapes you. Life gives you maturity, or should do, with experience to make better choices, but not all the time. Because we've still got a two-party political system that we keep voting for the same jokers, the same clowns, year after year. So I don't think opening up to 16-year-olds is going to get the red sea of votes that we think. But that doesn't mean to say they shouldn't get to vote anyway.
Yeah.
All the things you're saying that they should, the other changes that should be made potentially because of their age, that they get away with, for want of a better term, like criminal responsibility and that kind of stuff, I don't disagree with you. If you're going to look at changes that need to be made and they are maturing a bit quicker, potentially, then lower some of that stuff. I'm not saying that you shouldn't do that. Not at all. I agree with you.
Fine. If we're going to say 16 is the adult age, not a problem. They can vote. They can also serve full time in prison. They can also everything like that. It has to be across the board, 100%. And we'll talk about a flip flop. It was only a few years ago that they were talking about putting the driving age up to 21.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
The reason for that was the number of fatalities, hence why they've all got black boxes and hard to get insurance. You'll probably not believe this. The responsible person you see before you, I wrote off 5 cars before I was 21 because I know it's harder. All the kids I went to college with, because of the course we were doing, everybody was into cars in a big way. Everybody was into cars, and I tended to kill mines. I drove them through roundabouts and fucking hell, through concrete bollards. But and I wasn't 16.
Yeah.
Right? I was legally able to drive, but I still made piss poor choices. There wasn't a magical switch at that age.
Listen, the driving thing's just an example, because in my opinion, I think the United States have it better than we have it for that. They have more. They have driver Z classes. They can drive from a much younger age on a provisional, and I think it breeds more responsible drivers that way. Right now, we're like, you get to the age, you pass as quick as you can, and that's it. You're thrown out onto the road. Oh. Whereas they have a slow burn up to that.
Simpler system, though, isn't it?
Yeah. So. Yeah. Somebody mentioned that Norfolk was trying to get in. If you just click the link that me and Miss Worm have posted there, you should be able to get in, and I'll see you on the lobby. Nobody's tried to join yet. You'll just appear at the bottom for me if you do.
Come to the dark side, Norfolk.
Well, here's one for you then. Here's a spin in the works. It's still related, I guess. Kind of not conspiracy. Well, not quite conspiracy. It's kind of borderline conspiracy,
16-year-old aliens. No.
Don't probe them though.
No. Well, as long as the law's been changed, you probably can. But I wouldn't encourage you.
Oh no!
But, this whole change.
No, not happening. Not happening. Not happening.
Yeah. This whole change that they're talking about with if you allow 16-year-olds to vote, then you have to change the ID. So the ID has to be all the way down to bank cards. And
There you
bank
go.
cards are less secure, right? Less secure having a bank card.
Oh, we're losing you there. You're breaking up, George.
Not great. Oh no,
Chuck
great.
a cola my ass.
Yeah. Fight fire with fire, Norfolk. Sorry, George. Do you want to say that again? You broke up and went a bit roboty then for a second.
Let's be that's why. I'm just right through the Wi-Fi.
It wasn't the connection. He was having a stroke.
No, I'm saying you're having a stroke.
Yeah, it's your voice, mate. It totally does it for me. I'm totally having a stroke right now.
Hey, I don't mind. You do you. You do you. That's all right, baby. I'm just glad someone's happy. Anyway, as I said, yeah, youngsters, bank cards. So we need bank cards for ID, which which is less secure, right? Which isn't great. And I'd imagine, yeah, I said in the chat earlier on, I'd bet my left bollock that we're not far from an electronic system, similar kind of, in America, which is always
China.
Yeah, in China. Yeah, well, you want kind of
Social scoring.
social scores. Yeah, which is always good. So,
Didn't Charlie Brooker do a Black Box episode on that?
I don't know. But I actually I don't think that's great. I think this idea of having, I use a bank card to vote. I think the excuse Labour used, good old Labour, was 4% of people or something didn't vote because of the ID restrictions. And you go, that doesn't really account for the other 36%. Just weird. Just something that
I agree, because you've got. I mean, for preppers, it's very relevant because people don't want OPSEC and all that lot, and a lot of them won't be even on the voting register. They won't be on the voting poll because they don't want that public knowledge out there.
So you've got the choice, haven't you? Yeah, you've got the choice where if you're done automatically. I think a bit like is it the Australians that do that? I know it's illegal to not vote in Australia from memory serving, but I'm not too sure.
I'll kick you out, Paul. Changing your headline. Have you got an opinion? You've just joined, Paul. Have you got an opinion on this situation?
On the
voting age,
kids getting to vote at 16.
Yeah,
I think it shouldn't be allowed because they're not mature enough. They can't legally drink. They can't vote.
Yep.
As per whatever. Some of them are mentally challenged, shall I say, with regards to wokeness.
Right. I was going to say there's a lot of us that are mentally challenged, but then you added the wokeness. It's fine. Carry on.
And they've been indoctrinated by all the schools that are putting absolutely everything ridiculous on us. Like, I'm trying to think of an example. You can't say this, you can't say that, you can't offend so and so, you can't misgender anybody, you can't mispronoun anybody.
You're 100% right. So let's look at Reform as an example, right? So, I mean, I looked at Reform's contract with the people, their manifesto, in other words, before Farage was even put in place, right? And I read it and I was like, this is like talking to the mates in the pub. They didn't actually know what's going on. Farage came in, love him or hate him, he's very Marmite, but the poison they will get against him as a person will affect their vote. There's no way they're going to say, here's their policies and here's what they think, and it's a good idea because it's getting out of control, this current situation in this issue. So they're going to say they're going to put a stop to it. They won't get that. They'll get, oh yeah, he's got loads of money and he's an arsehole and he's all this and he's an ex-Tory and that's what they're going to get.
Yeah, but doesn't that apply to all what's this word, people in the government?
The comment section's just got his shit.
It applies to everything, but it's how well you take how much you take things on board at that age. At 16, my stepdad was the be all and end all. and he could have told me that grass is actually purple for this reason, that reason, the other, and I'd have believed him. Yeah, but you have heroes. Some people it's their dad, some people it's their mum, some people it's somebody that's not even a relative. But you have heroes at that age that if they say something to you, you don't do your own research. Whereas you get to a certain age, you get older. I'm not saying 18 is that older age. I'm just saying we shouldn't be lowering it. We should be putting it up, if anything. But you get older and you question things, and you are able to do better research and things like that. And you're able to question the establishment. Brian,
no chance. I'm going to call that one and say I fundamentally disagree, because they're challenging for they can open their mouth these days. Kids will challenge everything, and they'll Google everything, and they'll fact check you on it, everything.
You're not the hero then. You're not the hero then. They will fact check everything and stuff like that. But if you are that influential figure in their life, this is what I'm saying. We're going to end up back with that nuclear family that is like, we are a conservative family. We all vote conservative. I don't care. You don't have to look at the policies. We just vote blue. Full time, all the time.
I can only say, I'll ask you in a sec, but from my own experience, I never got that with my three, and they're all adults now, because they would routinely come out with pish that I don't agree with, for want of a better term, that I would try and fight back on and counter argument. And this was all crap they're getting from school, right? They're the hero of their own story. They don't need anybody else, because they've already decided a viewpoint of the world, and that's how it is. And you're old, you don't know anything, you've no right to do anything. You're just full of shit, because you're trying to compete with TikTok, Facebook, all the other shit that's out there, and you don't matter, because they're bombarded 24/7. You get 5 minutes of their time on a good day.
Yeah.
And that 5 minutes is when they want money.
Yeah. I mean, we'll see less election campaigning in the next election, because it will all be on TikTok and stuff like that.
Yeah. I mean, I gotta agree with Mike on this one. Sorry, Brian.
Appalling.
But I mean, because I've seen it and I've dealt with it firsthand. All the Andrew Tate stuff. Boys, particularly teenage boys.
There we go.
It was a massive.
Woo!
It was,
this guy's an asshole.
Helmet down there.
He's on top of Brian. Brian's on the bottom.
Brian.
More loving for the shoving, baby.
Sorry, George. Go on.
Sorry, I got out of control. The Andrew stuff, it was like a massive, like an epidemic. In fact, it was a thing across all schools. It was something that was reached out across, different, constituents and stuff like that. Of going, this guy's an issue. You got kids, young boys in particular, who are going on like a bunch of bellends. And they really were, do you know what I mean? Especially kind of, a lot of the female teachers for no reason at all. Really was no reason at all. Mothers at home having issues and everything else. It was a really big problem. And so you're right, yeah, like they would do whatever stupid shit they told them to do, because he presented himself in such a way that they bought into it. My other argument, though, where I probably would side with Brian somewhat, is that
finally.
It's the same. Do you know what I mean? Like, how many? I know quite a number of my mates who buy into the same shit. There's fewer within the kids, 100%.
Listen, I will agree with you. 16 to 18, not much difference. All right, my oldest son, who's making me a granddad now, is 19, and from 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. Even when he moved out at 19, there was no difference in maturity, education, work ethic, anything. It was the same all the way through. I agree with you. The point is, we shouldn't be lowering it. We should put it up, in my opinion, but we shouldn't be lowering it. To say that, with that argument, you could then say, well, 15-year-olds are not much different off a 16-year-old, may as well drop it another year. Well, 14-year-olds are not much different from and this will just constantly drip down. It's just,
But who's to say in 50 years' time when we're all dead and buried? That might not be the case.
I'm going to be uploaded to the cloud.
I'll be a nice ripe 80. I'll be all right.
Yeah.
Wow, alongside Walt Disney.
I'll be 101, so I don't think I'll be having this conversation then. I'll just throw that out there.
Don't worry, Brian, we'll give you a good send-off.
Just pour Pepsi on the dirt.
Gladly.
I think Brian will end up being frozen in a Pepsi coffin.
I reckon all the Pepsi's
and
like
Solo and carbonate.
Pepsi carbonate, like Han Solo.
yeah.
It's going to be a big fucking coffin.
Polonium said, what life experience is a 16-year-old drawing on when they vote? So this is the point. I know you say there's not much maturity, but there's 2 years life experience more. If not saying there's a difference between the two, but that's the reason we shouldn't be dropping it, in my opinion.
What experience?
Less life experience.
Nah. It's all right that you're wrong. I'm okay with that. I'm just letting you let you have your voice, because at some point you realise you're wrong and it's fine, and we'll say it's okay, you got there in the end. It's just fine.
Well,
Don't worry
if
about it.
I'm wrong, so's 90. Right, let's have a look at the votes. There's good time
Let's see the
to look
vote.
at the votes. Let's a good time to look at the
Yeah,
votes.
but you could be fiddling the figures there.
I'll put it on
Really
screen
good.
if you want me to. You should be able to see it yourself. 74 votes, 12% yes, it should be lowered, 88% no.
Obviously, Coke drinkers though. Every one of them.
Brian, you're
Everyone
trying to
in drinks
gain.
Coke.
You're trying to gain subscribers, not lose them.
Don't worry, Brian. I'll stay subscribed.
I've got my Pepsi finger up.
Okay, Brian, let me ask you, why not 15?
At this moment in time, we've no set the bar and no proved.
We have
We've not even
18
proved
was the bar.
No, aye. But we've not proved the bar for 16 yet. We're talking about it, right? And
So why not 17?
Why not 17? I'm not saying it should be 16 or 17, but I don't think fundamentally there's anything wrong with saying 16. But could it be 17? It's a conversation to be had. In a long time from now, if things are deemed that they've matured even quicker, or forced to mature even quicker, or for whatever other reason at the day at the time, that's a conversation to be had. But at the moment, the idea has been floated at 16. And for all the reasons I've listed, I don't think it's a bad thing. I don't. I think it's a tactic.
At 16, a 16-year-old boy will vote for the party, whoever's got the lowest slung top, in my opinion. You know,
I still do that.
You're going to start having bikini models escorting politicians round and stuff like that. It's just,
and I'll vote for them.
Interesting.
What, like Rachel from
What's wrong with
Accounts?
I never said it was a bad thing. I'm just saying, it's not that.
I think you should start a party. Shit, 4 people will vote for you in here right now.
Oh, I am.
Probably
The
not.
UK Resilience Party will be available at the next 2029 election. How's that?
And the lap dancing posse.
That's the after parties. It's fine.
Ah, right, cool. Okay.
Do you think similar conversations would have been had all those years ago when women were given the vote? You know, what experience does a woman have? You know, from the guys who would have been sitting around the table having those conversations. You know, donkeys years ago.
I have no doubt
Do you
it
know
would
what I
have
mean?
been discussed. Yeah, I have no doubt.
It's tricky, isn't it? You know, but how did they come to that consensus? I wonder. You know, a lot of it was the effort in the Second World War, but throughout both wars, really. But
do you think do you think this is genuinely think that this has been sat round, spoke about long enough and considered, or it's just like this is a good way for us to get a load of youth votes?
it's done because before the summer recess, isn't it? It's done to obfuscate something. As is all politics, a lot of the time it seems to be the case. What that is, no
I
idea.
think Grass Monster had a great point. You know, they talk about conscription, they talk about a war footing. Suddenly, if you're old enough to vote, you're old enough to fight.
Well, you're old enough to 16's old enough to sign up to the army, right? I mean, I'm not an expert on it.
16 and a half, I think. 16 if it's parental consent. And it's not like the full military. It's 2 years of a military college, which is like Harrogate in North Yorkshire. So it's like extended. It's basically taking your basic infantry training and spreading it over a 2-year period instead. It's more of a slow burn into it, but it's a way of getting them over the line straight away. They wouldn't go and serve at any point in that period.
Okay. Don't know.
So they'd get to the end of their 2 years at Harrogate, and that's when they would go and join their regiments.
Yeah.
But again, parents have got to sign that as well. You've got to be 17 and a half to apply going in as an adult. 17 and a half because then it tips it over to that 18 point by the time you're going anywhere.
I'm quite surprised so many people got it wrong in the vote.
How do you mean?
I'm just
88%. The minority.
The 88%. You just.
I'm not surprised.
I mean, you're wrong on your soft drinks. You're wrong on this. It just happens, Brian. It happens. You know.
I'm wrong in my browser history. Yes, I've got a lot of faults. It's fine.
You don't have a log burner. You don't even make up for that with a decent freeze dryer.
Plus, I don't think he has enough quality power banks.
This is true. Yep.
He's got some behind him, but they don't work because the batteries are in the wrong way around. So,
listen,
wrong way around, right? Charge.
I'm going to answer that. Hold on a minute. Right. There was various slanderous comments put out there. I freely admitted that the directions were wrong, right? And prior to smashing it with a hammer, which was very much how it was going to go, just for shits and giggles, I put them in the wrong way, and it worked, right? So It's not me that... Seriously.
Brian, don't expect to ever get away with this out the amount of crap I've had from power banks. And look, on my desk is a fully charged power bank, just so you're reference.
Did the wife do it for you?
I don't know, maybe you should ask yours to put batteries in things for you.
If she puts batteries in things for me, I'm probably going to wake up feeling a tad uncomfortable.
Mr. Floppy.
Oh dear.
There's your chopper all over again. Yeah.
Speaking of complete demonetization of a video, which will probably happen here, don't forget there's loads of ways to support the channel. I've started Patreon now, so that's an awesome way to do it as well. But more importantly than any of that, support yourselves. There is about 40% of the tickets left for next year's Scottish Prepper Meet. Literally 60% of the tickets went in the first couple of weeks of being out there. So there's a lot of places. It's going to be the biggest meet in the UK next year. I can probably, I'm not definitely, but it's looking that way, the way it's filling out. So don't miss out on that. Just the links in all of my videos and stuff like that. So go and check that out.
Probably worth mentioning to people, Mike, that if they miss the boat on this one, there's no more fields to expand to if we reach capacity.
No, this is it.
That's filling the campsite. So when the tickets are gone, it's not like there's another field that it can be overflowed into. This is overflowing the overflow.
And Mike is not having the administrative nightmare that he had this time. So when people turn around last minute going, actually, I can't go, so just give my place away. Not happening. It's just going to be more leg room for Brian if people drop out. So nothing will go back on sale once we are sold out.
Fair bank space.
Like, what's your max capacity? Out of curiosity.
So it's between 60 and 80. Because it's based on whether it's a camper, tent, stuff like that.
Size of tents
so
and
we're looking at 60 minimum, but it depends how many book. Because when you go and book, and I'm going to put the link in the chat just while we're talking about it. If you do go and book, there's an option for drop down. You can say tent pitch, camper pitch, etc., stuff like that. So different slots will fill up quicker, and it'll depend on the capacity. But we're going to have at least 60 pitches there. Now you pay for a pitch, not a person. If 4 people are in your tent, we don't care. You're paying for 1 pitch. So there's going to be a lot of people there. So anyway,
festival, yeah.
There you go. Prep fest.
And it was good. It was good fun.
Really good. It was really.
I got roped into going paddleboarding and Buttermere. Otherwise, I would have went. And then
Mike was paddleboarding in his tent.
I have a newborn, so.
But I had a power bank to keep me dry.
I've got
I noticed.
coming in October, so I just don't know about to kind of swing it, you know. Not the newborn, you shouldn't do that. But the definitely shouldn't do that. I don't
Relaxes the chickens, love. It should be the same.
Look how flexible they are.
Oh, Miss Wormwood already posted tickets. Thank you.
No, I'll keep my eye out. I'll spin my loud.
No, it's we decided to go for the bank holiday weekend to try and play a better chance. With a better chance for the weather, plus we get the extra day. So anyway, that's it. Plugging over. Sorry, but yeah, I just want people to not miss out because I know somebody's going to message me July of next year, going, "Is there any places left? I really want to go."
So it's a maximum of 60.
Oh, it might be more. It depends if campers or tents book. So Brian's taking up more space with a camper, so he's going to, stop somebody going. So, he's just like that. He's the kind of person. So,
okay. What if you turn
missing
up
you
with
already?
What if you turn up with something like an extra large Winnebago?
It's still a camper. It's fine. Brian, how big are the camper pitches?
Yeah, they're fine. You'll get a Winnebago's about what, 33 feet, something like that.
Yeah, you could have fit 3 of yours on one of those pitches, right?
There was an Airstream on one of them. Put it that way.
Yeah. So you're all good. All good. Anyway, back to voting. So we're just all saying no, they shouldn't do it, right? That's the
No.
consensus. We can end there.
I'm not even going to sully that remark.
I'm surprised, Brian, at your stance on this. Genuinely.
Why?
Because you hate young people. You can't even argue. You can't even argue.
No, I'll answer that, right? I don't hate young people. I just don't like assholes, right? And there's a lot of younger people are assholes. Now, you don't count. You've matured into the role. But they don't need to work at it as hard as you do. They're born entitled little fuckers. And it's the lack of respect and common courtesy and manners I've got an issue with, not their age.
Right.
And that's partly down to society.
Here we go. Right. Question around the table. Free reign. We have the Great Reset. However that comes, zombie apocalypse, huge floods, God smiting us all, whatever it decides to be, and we happen to be the ones that are left after and on the rebuild. Brian, what's your democracy? And how's it going to work? Is it a democracy? How's it going to work? And will people get a vote and what age? How would you set up a country in summary? Very base level.
I'm going to need to phone you because you'll be working up the population on your own. You'll be churning them out.
Another little
Insta family just had cola. I try and live my life by the premise of don't be a dick, right? And it's very. You'll see me typing it in Discord a lot. Ironically, I'm one of the biggest dicks you'll ever meet, but that makes me a hypocrite. So, manners and courtesy have been lost from society, in my humble opinion, across the board. Holding a door, saying please and thank you, common courtesy.
More in this country than others. I'll just throw that out there.
I would agree with that. I've travelled a little, and I would agree with that. So society is slightly broken. I would roll it back slightly to a value-based system where you're valued for what you contribute and how you act. You're judged in how you act. If you're an asshole, you're treated like an asshole. Pretty simple.
Right, well, so would it be a government still, similar sort of structure? How would you structure it?
If you've got a dictatorship, you might be benevolent.
All right.
Yeah, it works as long as the person that's the dictator isn't a dick, right? The problem is when you're gone, you've set the stall. There's one person, one vote, one decision. They might be an absolute fucking monster. So that's a flawed system. But then you've got human nature creeps in, greed, jealousy, all the good stuff that we're born with and you see every day in your life. And that's why socialism doesn't work. So the flawed system that we have and how it can be manipulated and everything else, I think it's the best of a bad world, but it could be tweaked better because it's not working properly.
Yeah. Okay, fair enough. George, are you going to be a dictator? Is it going to be a Viking village? How are you going to structure the new society that we find ourselves building?
Dictatorships always... everyone wants to be a dictator, don't they? Because they all want to do it their own way. But it only ever works for one person. That's the person who's the dictator.
And people who are my friends. Oh, sorry, I mean people who are their friends.
I'm not just like our government. We're not under a dictatorship. Well, supposedly.
I feel like Brian's stroking me.
Do you know what it is? I think
it's really uncomfortable.
I'm going to sound like a nut job here, and everyone's in the chat's going to go, George, you're an idiot. You're being naive, and I probably am. But the people who are in the system at the moment, I don't think they're cut out for it because they're not. They're not people from the real world in that sense.
They're not grounded.
Yeah, they're not grounded. But the system itself works. I think if it didn't work, we wouldn't have what is kind of the founding blocks really for a lot of nations' democracy. So I think it does work, but the people who are currently in it's become so corrupted. Yeah, I suppose corrupted from the top to the bottom. I always think that politicians do go in with the best intentions, and people do want to help people out, when they're younger in particular. But it just doesn't work. There's too many factors at play. The money comes into it. There's people who are already there who set things in stone which are going a certain way, and you don't ever have a chance. So you have to either follow or you get kicked out, just like the recent MPs who kicked out of the Labour Party. And so that's a bit rubbish. But I think the system itself works. I think, strange enough, I think it's become it's grown too fast. It's like become globalist probably in the past 50 years, 40 years. And I think that's why we're seeing this big change. And not just in youngsters, but across everybody. You know, everyone's interested in what's going on the other side of the world, when in reality it doesn't really matter. I think when things were in a smaller community, a bit like you mentioned, almost like a Viking village, I suppose, in a sense, or a tribe.
Yeah.
You know, when your main community hub is your church or your community centre, whatever the case is, and if someone was a dick, you know, like Brian mentioned, if someone was a dickhead, they just get pushed out. They get ostracized. No one has anything to do with them. You know, you go, oh, he's a bellend, so we're not going to bother with him. And I think that works in a way, but it doesn't work on a large scale.
Yeah.
Because once you're on a large scale, you know, everyone puts a false on whatever the case is, and they pretend to be somebody else, and it doesn't matter, and there's no consequences either. So current system's fine, but you need, if you focus so much domestically on solutions, and I think it's a tricky, because
would you?
It's so easy to go down the dictatorship route and going, yeah, well, I say happens, and I'm completely right, but I don't know anything. Do you know, I'm not a politician.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not going to be shy about it. Yeah, it'd be a dictatorship for me. with a lot of
it would work for you.
It'd work for me. Yeah, no, it would be a semi-dictatorship. There would be a council of people with me with the final say. So there we go. But I'll definitely take your voice. I'll definitely take your opinions on. But yeah, then I'll ban the Pepsi. Paul, how would you run the country? What kind of government would you have in place if it was the rebuild?
Right. Well, I would get rid of absolutely all the current lot.
But they're already gone. They weren't prepared enough.
Okay.
God smited them for us.
We ate them.
We ate them.
Thank God for that.
I am not sticking that thing in that green jumpsuit in my mouth in any way, shape, or form.
Have some Starmer burger.
No, thanks.
Sorry, Paul. Carry on.
Seriously, there would be. As an example, the UK would be split into the counties that they are now. There would be votes within each county to vote for one person.
Yeah,
and then it would be the majority vote for absolutely. Everything for the better good.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it makes sense. I think you're onto something there, because I think that's how it would work better now. If we devolved powers more to a point of the Americans have states and governors have sets of laws and responsibilities. I know we have it with counties, and we have certain county ordinance, but not necessarily national laws as such, but I think it would be much more, because at the moment, right, we're all governed from London, and we know how completely detached they are from what we go through. Even we're all in different corners of the country, you know, and they're still detached from every one of us, of working life, cost of living, everything like that. They're completely detached from it. So I think if you devolved them powers more, and you had, for example, a Lancashire government, and a northeast government and stuff like that, you know, I can sell them the zones idea, zone 1, zone 2. But if you had that, and then they just had to refer back to national law for extreme or further cases like they do in the States, I think it would work a lot better. But if it's after the apocalypse, I'm in charge, guys. Sorry, there's no negotiations.
See your
Horace
premise
the
there.
Merciless.
Ming the
You what, sorry?
Merciless.
Ming the Merciless, yeah.
See, from a resilience point of view, your idea about local sector controls would be better for a civil resilience point of view, because if something happened, you would have more organisation at the ground level potentially if there was a catastrophe, and a better chance of control, or less chance of a local catastrophe becoming more of a widespread issue. If that makes sense.
Yeah, no, yeah. It does. It does.
It's kind of like what we're supposed to kind of have, isn't it? That people here, you vote your chap or your lady in, and they represent the constituents. Kind of.
They're supposed to represent.
Supposed to. That's the purpose, isn't it? That's the point.
Yeah.
Do you know what fucks all that up though?
Lobbyists and things kind of get in and
money.
The whip. No, the whip.
But
the whip fucks all that up because
tells them how to vote.
Yeah, exactly. Because I mean,
this makes the whole thing pointless.
Down the road, there's a town from me. It's quite an affluent, like small town, and it's only it's probably just over a village. It's probably barely a town, but it's predominantly conservative when it comes to national elections. But they've had a Lib Dem councillor in there in charge of the council for their local township for the last 20 years, because he does more for them locally.
Right.
But he's never going to represent them for what they want, because he got to vote where every other Lib Dem votes, right? It's just I think a lot of people get into politics with these really, really good intentions and quickly get funneled. That's the problem.
They do, but like George had said earlier, I don't think they're fundamentally that many bad people. But you have to sell your soul to get into politics, to get on. So many promises, so many committees, that by the time you actually get in a position that you can do something, you've already sold so much of your person to get there, your manoeuvrability is cut to nothing.
Yeah. Sell the souls.
Yes.
Sell the souls. So, let's have a look at some of the comments I have started. I've missed loads, guys. Sorry, your comments are going faster than the actual verbal chat's going.
Can imagine.
Preparing the path said, to be fair, I think it's the least of the worries. Yeah, I think we highlighted that when we said this could just be a whole distraction sort of thing. If voting made a difference, they wouldn't let us do it. Mark Twain says XP. 40, yeah, we saw that one. 40% prove themselves. The voting age should be half of that. Medical evidence shows that 7-year-olds have more wisdom than those in their 60s. Boomers are asset strippers and scroungers. We need a max voting age. Oof.
Wow.
That's got to be satire, right? It has to be satire.
That cannot be
That has to be
serious.
satire.
I don't think that is satire, because I've heard this a few times. What's your thoughts, genuinely?
Really?
On let's ignore the 7-year-olds, because we're not having 7-year-olds voting. They'll vote for the Minecraft party, and that would be it.
Or Peppa Pig.
Yeah, I mean 7's probably a bit much for Peppa Pig, but it, genuinely an upper cap. What are our thoughts on that? Because we talk about it with driving, with stuff like that, you know, and obviously people do get to an age where they lose the marbles. You know, Brian's close. So I don't know about Paul, but you're probably closer than the rest of us, Brian. What do you think of an upper age limit cap on voting?
It depends, because somebody living, our life expectancy is going to come into this. Somebody that's had a hard manual job and lives in the north of Scotland or northern England is going to have a shorter life expectancy than somebody that's worked in the city of London and has never done a manual shift in their life, right? So you're going to have to look at the demographics and find an average. Let's call it 75, right? So if you can't vote until you're 16 potentially, if they think that the maturity level is that, and then conversely, that for whatever reason, whether it's your mental faculties or the simple fact that what you're voting for you might not be around to suffer the consequences of.
We all have that every day. We can be hit by a bus, right?
Totally get that. But going by their what they alluded to there, I don't think it's a good idea. But you could take something off that at the 75 mark an age where you're no longer relevant, as I was told earlier on, right? You don't matter because you'll be dead. Oh, thanks, guys. that feel good factor. What more kind of hacked me off with that was not hacked me off. The perception that Gen X and everybody else is stripping the economy and we're getting all the things flung at us and we've never worked for it.
Oh, we're all loaded.
Just a clue postering in that one right now. I've worked for Amazon the day I was 16 and I've never fucking stopped. Thanks very much. 2 and 3 jobs at a time. So
even unemployed, I didn't sign on. I went out and did what jobs I could to earn.
Yep. I've never ever not been I've never claimed a penny, right? Just to answer that. And anything I've got I've paid for. So I can assure you, and I've worked
apart from all them free power banks EcoFlow keeps sending.
Yeah, I'm totally sponsored to the tits with EcoFlow apparently, and it's all free. But no, I do understand where they're coming from though, to an extent, because there's not a lot there for kids now. There's not a lot for them. House pricing's hard to get on the market, so I can see why they would be slightly fucked off.
Does this not solve itself if we do what we said before? Right? Very simple solution. You have a job or you're self-employed, You have a vote. So therefore, once you retire, there's no vote. Before you're old enough to get a job, there's no vote. So in that reality, 16-year-olds can vote if they've gone out and got a job and stuff like that. And that's good. That's good to teach work ethic as well, because they might still be in education. But I had a Saturday job when I was 15. You know, you can still work. You can still put in. So if you're putting in, you get a say. If you're not putting in, you don't get a say.
I'm not adverse to the premise, but it's getting very dangerous to social scorn.
But I don't think it works. Because people already get, rightly or wrongly, they already get demonized, don't they, for claiming, whether it's you're an honest case or you're a dishonest case. And so once you start taking those votes away, they don't have a say for themselves. But then us who work would have a say on them. So why would you not just sit and vote and go, oh yeah, just have them all executed, or some ridiculous idea? Because they can't defend themselves. They can't vote against the idea they're being screwed over further, right?
Wow.
Exactly, George. It's brilliant. Exactly, George. You've just.
I don't think they should be executed, by the way. Just let's be clear on that.
Jesus Christ, this went dark there all of a sudden. Mike wants to take their vote, and George is getting them shot against the fucking wall.
And Brian wants them electrocuted by the short and curlies with his power banks.
Sorry, guys, I've got to discharge them somewhere.
Look how they glow.
Just to emphasise, I've got the little link symbol next to this, so he came through from your side, Brian. So there you go.
And listen, your point is you're entitled to your point, and I don't disagree with young people coming through and feeling disillusioned because they can't get what they think they're entitled to. They can't go on the property ladder. I'd be annoyed as well. But by the same token, that's not my fault. Oh. I've worked and paid into the system, and I shouldn't be penalised for that. Nor should anybody else. But unfortunately, you might perceive that you're being penalised, and I'm sorry.
Yeah.
There's nothing I can do about that.
No, it's fine. I mean, I don't think there should be an upper limit. Generally, is my if you've got the faculties to be able to go out and vote, then you should have an opinion about it. And lots of that generation fought for it. And like I say, whether that's physically going out fighting for our country or whether that's just working every day of your life, like Brian said, they've earned the right. So you should never take that away. Grass Monster said, how many adults are manipulated by what they see on the news? This is when we were talking about the manipulation within the colleges and universities and stuff like that. It's very true. How many adults still believe every bit of mainstream news they see, so...
Probably all of us, 100%. Because even if we don't buy it, we have another opinion on it, don't we? So...
It got us thinking down that track.
Yeah, you got to remember, it's not one guy in a chair sitting coming up with these, whether it's a real news story or fake news stories. You've got a lot of people all over the place. The BBC Corporation's huge.
Yeah.
And think like spin doctors and such. It's a well-oiled machine. It's been going a long, long time. It's not going anywhere. Well. Yeah.
Spin doctors.
Aye.
Showing your age, Brian.
Yeah, no shit.
What life experience? Oh, we saw that one from Polonium. Yep, I couldn't agree more. To be honest,
TikTok.
Polonium. Yeah, TikTok, exactly. The country would never accept the flag-draped coffins of dead 16-year-olds coming back from war. This was obviously talking about are they lowering the age for national service and stuff like that. But you say they wouldn't, but
Depends the circumstances and how desperate and back against the wall.
exactly.
They wouldn't
Exactly.
now, but maybe in say you drop the vote to 16 and you drop everything else to 16, you know,
We
in
would
10
perceive
years'
them
time,
16-year-olds
Brian's passed
differently.
away, it's a bit different, isn't it? You know what I mean?
We'd perceive them differently, right?
Yeah,
If they've
we would,
been
yeah.
treated as adults from 16 for 3 or 4 years, has already gone by, and they're voting and they're doing everything and they've got all the privileges we've got. We'd see, you know, they've got the right to choose to go over there. If it was conscription, it'd be a different story, obviously. But just curious, what camper van has Brian got? Says Donk on the road.
It started out as a Citroen Relay L3H2, and I built that one out of it.
Yeah.
So
You've done a video on it, haven't you?
Yeah, there's a little tour on it. It's not a great video, but I've not done a great build video because I was too busy building it. But it took about a year and a half.
It's a cracking job, I'll tell you that. I mean, there's people at the meet that was looking at it saying they couldn't believe like it was not from a shop pre-bought sort of thing. So he's done a really good job, yeah. And Donk on the Road, if you're not already, go and subscribe to Brian's channel. There is a little tour video on there. I'm sure he'll do more videos from it. You did a couple of videos from it, didn't you, when you went up to the camping?
Glencoe and stuff in Arisaig,
yeah. So some cool videos, so go and check out his channel and you'll see more of it on there. Somebody mentioned, I couldn't find the comments, somebody asked about caravans at the Scottish meet. We'll treat them as campers. If you want to turn up with a caravan, that's fine. You know, it's not a problem. It'll just when you book it as a camper.
Question for Brian.
Go on.
Why didn't you, when you built your camper van, why didn't you potentially use something bigger like a high-topped Luton van? That way you could put a bigger fridge in and have a space for more Pepsi and a hell of a lot more power banks.
Well, it's a good question. Right. To be fair, power banks wasn't really a thing. It was built. I started building it about just 2020 when the big C started, and it took about a year and a half. And that's how quickly power bank technology's changed. See, within 5 years ago, EcoFlow, Jackery, all the rest of it, nobody'd ever heard of these things. Every camper van build was a custom build of solar charge controller, battery to battery, mains, all the rest of it. You didn't have that option. Whereas now, you've got a realistic option of putting some power banks in as a one-stop solution, running the whole thing. So it's entirely turned your options on its head. Sorry to segue.
No, that's fine. That's what it's all about. We've done an hour and a half on talking about 16-year-olds. That sounds really bad, doesn't it? So I'm sure we can segue as much as we want.
The Gary Glitter panel.
We would end up with exactly the same system as we have now. We've tried everything else. That's Polonium talking about what political system on the rebuild.
Probably.
So, but it depends on your school of thought. Some might have thought of like previous methods. I mean, I was a staunch royalist at one point until until Sausage Fingers was in. Not anymore, because he seems more manipulated than any other monarch has ever been. So he just doesn't seem to have his own voice. So yeah. Anyway, interesting. That's a debate for another day. Yeah.
Yeah. Ever since the Queen, may she rest in peace. Ever since she's gone, the monarchy has proverbially gone down the toilet, apart from Kate.
Yeah, that's because she was keeping them all in check.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is what it is now. It's a tourist attraction. That's what it is. If they can't vote at 75, do they stop drinking, driving, and shagging?
I should imagine at 75, a lot of the 75-year-olds can't even get it up. They have a monument to Mr. Floppy.
Whoa, let's not talk about Brian like that. All right.
Wow, how rude.
Fair.
This
Listen,
reminds me, guys, don't forget to stockpile Viagra wherever you can. It's nice store-bought.
I'm prepared.
I can assure you, on birthdays and Christmas, right, I'll be fine.
Thanks for that. I just spat a mouthful of tea all over my computer monitor.
Oh dear.
Spitters, mate, spitters.
Oh, that. I knew it was coming. No, that's not cool. I'm just going to shut up.
If you knew it was coming, George, you wouldn't have to spit.
Not recommended to drive and shag at the same time. It is possible, Miss Worm, but you have to avoid the central reservation, my dear.
Oh dear. Only if you stop taxation at retirement too, says Miss Worm. It's a good point. Good point. If you take away the privileges, you can't bill them for it. And to be honest, the way the retirement age is going, none of us will retire to a 107-year-old anyway. So
Just went up, hasn't it? It just went up to 60...
68, 67.
Yes, 67.
Yeah.
And then
For me,
I
it'll be
think pension-
67. I'm hoping to go in 11 years. As soon as I hit
Honestly,
62.
it's become a challenge. Can I make it to retirement? It's not about planning for enjoying retirement. It's like, can I just make it there?
Yeah.
And how much life are you going to get?
Is it 18 to vote in the UK also? It is at the moment, but it's about to be passed through Parliament to move it to 16. That's what the discussion's on at the
Potentially.
moment.
Probably.
Potentially.
Has it always been 18? Like,
I
from
don't know.
time immemorial, was it ever higher? I wonder.
I'm not sure.
I've no idea. Good question.
Anybody can answer in the chat. Feel free to answer that before George Googles it. The way the government are going
in your monitor.
Yeah,
I know.
I could see that
It's twisting
distinctive.
your hair even more.
It went from that darker yellow and black hub glow to Google white screen.
He's got me there.
The way the government are going, you'll be voting till you die, the same as retiring. Yeah, exactly. That's what we were just saying there.
18.
Has it always been 18, is saying?
Yeah, I googled it.
Oh, he's faster Googling.
I'm not sure. It's the thing. Like, here says representation of people acting in 1969, but that can't be right. It says that lowered the voting age to 18 years.
Lowered it to 18.
Also known as the Sixth Reform Act. I'm just, the first thing on Wikipedia, which is never a good idea. It seems like a low number, for the time. I'm just curious.
I mean, yeah, it makes sense that, it would have been older.
It's 21. Yeah, it was 21 and changed to 18 in 1969.
Wow.
Yeah.
I never knew that.
That I did know.
Neither did I, until just now. Yeah, it was passed by a Labour government. Oh, there you go.
I am
They
shocked
only-
and appalled.
Yeah.
They only lowered it so they could get in.
I know, yeah, at the time. But then, I wonder how many years they've been out for. And I wonder how the age thing and proportions made a difference for that. Well, anyway, doesn't matter.
Yeah. People are leaving the military in droves, and Stainer said those that were involved with the troubles following orders could be prosecuted. What if that extends to those in Iraq, etc.?
It's happening just now, and in Afghanistan.
Yes,
There's
chaps.
people- Yep.
Yeah.
Yep, happening already.
It's disgusting.
It's terrible. If you're going to send people over there to fight for their country, and then judge them for their actions 20 years later from your chair, can I suggest you pick up a rifle and you fucking go?
Imagine
I agree.
trying that with our 1939, 1945 generation. Some of the things they must have seen, some of the things they must have had to do. It's just insane to even consider that. Yeah.
It's very easy to sit
who
and
they're
guess
trying to
somebody's
please by
split-second
it.
actions.
Sorry, what are
Sorry,
you?
John.
No, Dave,
Go
I
ahead,
wonder who
George.
the trying to please by doing it. What I don't understand what to by
It's-
prosecute. Yeah.
Because they want to appease anyone who's offended by anything. That's the problem.
Yep.
You don't need to be justified these days. You just need a loud enough voice, a loud enough TikTok following, and be offended by something. There's people that are offended by
Coca-Cola.
they could be offended by racial matters, and they're not even of the race that's offended. That should be offended and stuff like that, and you see it all the time. Like you mentioned about the girl that wanted to go to a protest no matter what it was.
I'll bet she'd blue hair.
Yeah.
Tank top.
That didn't fit.
I mean, I'm not opposed to the blue hair because the missus had blue hair at one point. You know, I'm well behind the fact that none of them wearing bras anymore. I can get behind that movement. It's not a problem.
1985.
So many jokes.
When the government comes out with stuff like this, I wonder what they're covering up. Smoke and mirrors. Yes, couldn't agree more, Mel. We will keep a close eye. It's when big policies like this go through as well. That's when they sneak other things in. You can go on the government site. You can find out all the time what's being passed through Parliament, and you can literally go through and read. This is the amendment to this law that's going through, this, that, and the other. It's a lot of work to do so, but I do keep an eye on it to try and spot any crafty ones that go through. But yeah, what are they going to sneak through? Because when there's a big issue, that's what everyone's focused on, right? We need a statute of limitations for military personnel, 100%, and police.
Yeah.
And police.
Yes.
100% Polonium, couldn't agree more. But you're not protecting them, so how are you expecting to bolster the numbers?
Mm-hmm.
Police and emergency services and and the military, how are you expected to bolster numbers when they do not feel safe doing the job you're hiring them to do?
That's like that policeman who got the boot. I can't remember what his name was for not being extra nice and saying please and thank you to the scrote who robbed somebody.
Yeah, there's stories like that all over the place. I remember the case
bonkers.
of I think he got away with it in the end, but the farmer that shot them two lads that broke in and stuff like that, and that was
No,
a
he
big
got jailed.
fire over there. Yeah, did he get jailed?
He done time for that.
I thought he got taken back afterwards though.
No, he done time. He done time. He did time because he shot them leaving the house, which was the problem.
Shot him in the back.
Yeah, that was the issue. It was deemed that the reasonableness test that they apply was that he was no longer in a place of danger, but he put himself in a potential place of danger, chasing them and then shot them. It's not proportionate. It's not reasonable. Had he been in the house upstairs, no safe egress, and they were coming up towards him and armed, and he shot them, all bets are off. He'd be fine. It's self-defense. But to chase them out, it's not deemed reasonable to blow somebody away carrying a 75-inch telly out the front door. So.
Fired in anger.
I thought he was very reasonable in my book. The guy got my vote.
I cannot possibly comment for a myriad of reasons.
Yeah, of course. But it reminds me of what a corporal said to me about the whole grenade adage in like what is the perceived threat? What is the threat? So it's a young person coming up to them with a grenade. The pin is still in. Can't shoot, no threat. They pull the pin out, but they're holding a grenade. Can't shoot them. They're not a direct threat. They throw the grenade towards the troops. They still can't shoot them because they no longer have a grenade and they're not a threat. It's already coming towards them.
That's madness.
That's silly.
Exactly. There you go. Just think about that for a second. That's the woke nation for you, but they'll be the first to cry for help. 100%. 100%. Yep. They'll also be the first ones to win the Darwin Awards, should shit hit the fan, luckily. Ever Bailage, does that make me posh?
I don't know what that is.
I'm glad you said that, Brian, because I was sitting there thinking, like, what's that?
What is it?
That was a Scottish thing.
I don't know.
A balayage? I don't know what it is. A bandage? I don't know.
I'll Google this time. This is how uneducated we see you. You must be posher than us because all of us are clueless. It's a hair colouring technique according to AI.
Okay.
I'm not
hair
sure. Hair
colouring technique.
Anyway, he died in prison.
Tony Martin.
Didn't know that.
Wow.
when we were talking about the hair colour, of course. When we were talking about the hair colour, of course, yeah. I'd never have fake coloured hair. I'd be thinking walk live. I know the missus had half pink and half orange hair when I met her. Then it went blue, and now she's thinking of changing colours. It doesn't matter. She's been educated on the right political path, even if she looks like a pierced hippie. So she's got bed. Can you tell? I'm not going to get killed.
Not till she watches the video back. No.
And the reason you watch our lives is for random nuggets of knowledge, not just from us, from the chat. Jess has come up with men have nipples. There we go.
Do they?
Educating. Educating.
Yep.
I don't.
Tony Martin didn't go in jail.
Tony Martin did 3 years, and he died this Feb this year. There we go.
I knew you got jail time.
Yeah. There you go. Yeah, Miss Worm confirmed that didn't happen. Right. It's getting very late. We've done 2 hours. Appreciate the guests coming in. Brian, quickly tell the people on my side about your channel before we go off.
I spend a ridiculous amount of money on solar panels, battery backup, power banks, and other stuff. Try and do reviews and promote civil resilience, preparedness with a particular spin towards electricity and power in general, because that's my perceived threat for us.
And Pepsi. And Pepsi, no longer pies.
I've only had 4 cans on this podcast, right? I've cut down.
It's a disgusting habit.
Had a glass of Pepsi, so yeah.
George, have you got anything to plug or promote?
No, but I'm fine, just because I've been knowing it for ages. How can you sit there? How can you sit there? Can you go out your power banks again? You've got a freaking
I never heard
flickering lights. Yeah, how can you sit there talking about power banks and you've got a flickering lights?
It drives me mad, man. Like, I don't understand.
I'm going to fuck it. I'm going to buy a new light tomorrow. I keep getting shit for that. That is the second one. That is literally brand new, and the one before it was brand new.
LEDs, Brian. LEDs.
Right. See, by Sunday night there'll be a new light.
Prepared for the grid going down, but we like.
But you can't fix a light.
Yeah. Norfolk UK Prepper, you have a channel as well, and I don't think you've ever promoted. Tell us all about your channel.
Just starting out, doing basic sort of stuff. Trying not to talk a lot of cod shit, so to speak. That's as much as what I can say.
Okay.
Oh, apart from working on a project to get a household petrol generator or a internal combustion engine or a motor running off hydrogen extracted from water, something that I know Brian would love to rub his little hands on.
Oh, electrolysis.
Yes.
There we go. That's all. That's going to be worth the watch. Brand new channel, only 46 subscribers. We've got at least 60 people in here now, so go over and support his channel, give him a sub, and hopefully we'll see some cool power conversion stuff soon.
I'll be watching that.
Yep, there you go. There you go. You've gained subs already. Thank you to my entire panel. Appreciate you all being here. Brian, any final thoughts on the matter and goodbyes?
Yeah, the 80% that got the vote wrong. Yeah, don't worry about it. You make mistakes in life.
Shocking bias. 87% now. There you go. George, any final thoughts and goodbyes?
Nah, just don't be a dick.
He's talking to you, Brian.
I can't help it. I was born like it.
Norfolk Prepper, any final thoughts on the subject and your goodbyes?
Pepsi for life, power banks rule, and what is their voting should be 18. Mike's a top guy. Miss Worm's a well-known author, and have fun.
Okay, that sounded way too Brian-esque, so I've put you below Brian just so you're closer to get that nose right
Brian's
up
on top of me.
I'd just like to say I never got a mention out of everybody there.
Right, thank you to my entire panel. Thank you for you guys for joining us for this spontaneous live. I appreciate all the support on the channel. Don't forget about the Scottish Prepper Meet. I don't want you to miss out. It will sell out, I guarantee it, because we've still got a year to promote the thing, so get a ticket early. Don't forget about Miss Worm, our awesome moderator who has a channel. She's a published author. You can get her book on Amazon as well, so go and check out her channel. Give you a nice break away from reality and away from prepping. It's good to distress sometimes. Go and have Miss Worm read you a story on her channel. Thanks guys, and we'll see you in another one soon. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.